Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the first episode of Builders Talk. So what is Builders Talk? So Builders Talk is the power behind a movement designed to cause disruption in the building industry that is ripe for transformation. The government, the regulators, and our clients are screaming for it. And builders need to start building transparent trust with our clients and start saying no to the smoke and mirror tactics. We need to stand for integrity, credibility, and start taking responsibility for reshaping the industry. We need to, as a community, start becoming early adopters of technology, ditching the outdated business models, and start building our businesses around the best client experiences. Builders Talk will focus on giving you the tools to power your business, and I'll be giving you innovative insights, up-to-date techniques, on-the-fly tweaks and tech trends on a weekly basis, along with doses of reality and mind shifts that may need to occur so that we can build better building businesses and a better industry together. So I've started this podcast / live show, as you probably may be watching me live, to give a bit of an insight into the building industry, what happens behind the scenes, which is not often seen, and to give builders techniques and tips and ways to build their businesses better. So not only you, the builder, will benefit from this, but also the clients and the industry as a whole. So today I'm going to go through a little bit of background about myself, and over the next coming weeks I will add to those things so that you can understand what brought me to take this journey with you guys, and I would like you to come along with me. So I started on job sites at a very young age. My father was the director of a large interior fit-out company, working on jobs such as Parliament House in Canberra, the High Court, the refurbishment of the Queen Victoria building in Sydney. And Parliament House actually finished in 1988. I was actually only in year 8 then, and the building work actually started 10 years before that. So I was on job sites for a long time, and was really fascinated with the architecture and the detail that these buildings had in them. So when I did my work experience for school, I decided I wanted to go and do work experiences in architecture and architectural photography. So I went and did that. I really enjoyed it, really loved it. But Dad said to me when I decided, what was I going to do when I left school was to do architecture. He convinced me not to go into architecture because if you weren't, you basically would just end up doing a $30,000 drafting job in a job in the city and probably not really get any further than that. So I decided that I would just go and work. And, there was a lot of talk about, girls in the industry and that type of thing. So I sort of went and worked, and I just worked in the banking industry for 5 years. And really, that didn't really fulfill me. It was boring, sort of sitting behind a desk, answering calls, counting money, wasn't really anything that I was really enjoying. So I took myself off and backpacked my way up to the Whitsundays and started working on a cruise boat, and really enjoyed being out in the ocean and out with the marine life, the dolphins, the whales. So decided that I would go to uni and do marine science. So I finished my marine science degree. So you're probably wondering how I went from marine science into building. So once I finished my degree, we decided we'd move to Hervey Bay, which is the whale capital of the world, so that I could work in the marine area. But we could also do a development in Hervey Bay where we built 10 townhouses, as my husband, who I met whilst I was at university, was an engineer. So we moved here, and, I really enjoyed organising all the things behind the scenes for that development. So I started teaching myself how to design homes. YouTube has got a wealth of information on there. If you go and look, you can sort of teach yourself anything. So I taught myself how to design homes, and then we sort of decided that we would open our own building company once we'd finished the development that we did. So went and started designing houses, and the very first house that we designed and built, we decided to put into the building awards. And to our shock, we actually won. And I remember thinking the first person I've got to ring in is my dad. So I went out into the hallways and it was all very quiet. So I was whispering and Dad answered. I said, Dad, we won. And he's like, what do you mean you won? And I said, we won the building awards. And at that time, you could hear in his voice how proud he was that we had won, but also you could hear in his voice the disappointment of, well, maybe I should have actually let her do architecture when she left school. But going a roundabout way into that area got me to where I am today, which was running our own custom home building business and living in Hervey Bay. If I hadn't have done that, he was probably right. I probably would just be working for an architect in the city and wouldn't have had the opportunity to run my own business. So you're probably thinking, well, what's that really got to do with me or the industry? So most of the building industry obviously is the men building homes, and they come into that from their apprenticeship. They start building homes, but they're never really taught the business side of the industry. And this is the biggest downfall of our industry. They can build beautiful homes, but the customer service, the marketing, the business side of things, the cash flow, it's never really taught. And this is where the industry struggles and have a lot of problems with clients, because the builders just don't know that they haven't got enough business sense to put in the right amount of details. And I'm not saying that's everyone. Obviously, there's people that excel in their business and what they're doing, but the majority of mum and dad type builders really don't know what goes into the business to make it all work and be profitable. So there is a lot of suicide in the industry, and a lot of families are ripped apart because of the stress that our builders go through. So what I want to say today, and I'll leave the rest of my story to next week, is we need to start the wives and the significant partners that do help out in the building industry, which is usually behind the scenes, and it might be they just start doing the books. But we need to start identifying as not just, oh, I'm just helping my husband doing the books. We can make a big contribution, and we can really reinforce the family businesses by stepping up and identifying as not just being helping with the books or whatever other little bits and pieces you do. You need to identify as being actually someone that is significant in that business. And the guys need to, I guess, take on that help, and you don't have to just keep pushing through and not talking about what's happening and how much stress. And we all know that our husbands care so much about us, and they hide a lot of things from us. If there is an issue or, the money's tight at any time, we need to sort of start talking to each other and boosting each other up, reinforce the whole business and reinforce the industry, and bring people into the industry, women especially, so that we can do the things that we're good at and the guys can do the things that they're good at. And together, husband and wives, partners, can really make a big difference and help in the industry and turn around what clients think of us. You've all heard of dodgy builders and Joe Blow down the road that's, not got a license and doing the wrong type of work. Like, we need to turn that around. And one way of doing that is bringing the help into the industry and really making an effort to give the customer a really good experience. The only way we make money is by having customers. And if we're not giving them a good enough experience, like, the end product is the house. But all the things that make up that house is where we potentially have downfalls and make it really difficult for ourselves. Like, a lot of it really comes back to us not really having the right infrastructure in place, not having the foundations of building a good business so that we can mitigate the confusion that happens with clients and the disputes that happen. So basically, I've started Builders Talk so that I can help let people know that there is these things out there, and everyone's busy, and that's the problem. So I've gone and I've put myself out to sort of find this information and bring it back so that people don't have to go through the struggles that we've been through for the last 10 years. So I look forward to speaking to you all next week, and it'll probably be 10 o'clock next week. So enjoy the show. I hope you get some benefit out of it over the weeks or years to come, and speak to you soon.